ladies and gentlemen, Talking with a Dad, episode 15. Steve, the sponsors.
Thank you, Anchor, for sending this piece of shit over that took out half my house. I lost 2 dogs and almost a child, but I really do appreciate this little power brick. Anchor
Yeah, I'll
for the
take it.
win.
I could lose some.
I bought this thing like 4 years ago, and I found it the other day,
Okay.
and it still works as bad as I remember.
Is it really that bad?
No, it's not that bad. It's just like, so you got one for iPad. I just want you to know this was like Galaxy Note 3 days when I bought this.
Well, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, so there was no fast charging on those devices, if you remember correctly.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so this thing is, it's got 2 for iPads on here.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Doesn't make any sense.
Wow.
Zach, how the hell are you, man?
I'm doing good. Playing a lot of Tarkov, sleeping a lot, working a lot. You know, the whole gambit.
Oh, okay.
How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm not playing any Tarkov. I'm not sleeping a lot, but I'm sleeping more than my poor wife, so that's always a good thing.
That's always
mean,
good.
it's
That's a
thing.
small win in the world of life.
If my kids were adults, I'd make them pay for what they do to that poor woman every day.
Would you replace your couch and like coffee table and ottoman and such with a just
ring?
a mat?
Yeah.
I think with just a mat. You just put a flat mat down. You're like, all right,
We're going full gladiator today.
3:00. Today's Wednesday. No gi.
no gi, no messing around.
No
Hold on.
messing around. 3-on-1.
Let me just put my phone in ultra power saving mode. I just realized that I had 15% left.
What does ultra power saving mode do? What kind of phone do you have? Do you still have the same phone?
Yeah, so
I thought you were
ultra power
getting
saving.
I thought you were getting a Pixel.
Yeah, you know, we missed the sale, so that ship came and went.
Oh, okay, that's fair. You know what? I like an informed consumer.
Yeah.
So if you shop with sales, you're smart.
Well, actually, it wasn't much of a sale. As
it never
so
is.
The trade-in value on our phones is $200, right? And then on top of that, you were supposed to be able to get the Pixel 4 for $400. But once you got through reading the fine print, you were well up to $800. And I was not falling for that trap again.
I think I still owe that on my phone.
Yeah, I wasn't falling for it. I fell for it once. Never going to happen again.
That's fair. That's fair. It's really is what it is. You know what? We usually start off each week and each podcast with, you know, what games we've been playing. Mine hasn't changed in what seems like a month and a half. And yours hasn't changed because you haven't really been playing anything. You've been busy. That's fine.
No, I've been playing Star Wars. I've literally said that for the last 3 episodes. I've been playing Star Wars.
You ruined where I was going with this.
Okay.
Have you had any good food this week?
Oh, I did, man. My wife made some killer Angus beef burgers last night,
All
like
right.
prime rib, and there was a point where I bit into it, and mine was on everything. No, onion bagel with cheese, and I bit into it, and it was like the right amount of onion bagel, right amount of burger and cheese, and I was just like, I love this woman.
So we should think that all the time. But toppings on your burger. What are the appropriate toppings you put in your burger?
It depends on what type of burger I'm having. So that night I just had cheese and mustard.
Okay,
I like
that is
a
a
little
mustard. That is a mustard burger.
Yeah,
You want something a
mustard or
little tangy. You want tangy on top of the really rich beef.
There you go. So let's say if I was doing a Texas burger, right? Then I'm not going to do any condiments. I'm going to actually just have jalapenos on a Texas burger with the eggs. Maybe a little bit of Tabasco sauce. None of that salsa stuff. That doesn't belong on burgers.
I agree. You know what I always thought was a good addition to a burger was just a splash of horseradish.
Oh, you know what? That's a good idea. Horseradish. What type of burger are we talking about here?
That Angus beef burger would have been perfect with horseradish. Because a lot of times when you eat a prime rib, you throw a little horseradish on it. Why would that not be good on the burger? But I like it on all burgers. I think it's pretty good on all burgers, unless we're talking like we're talking outside of the realm of fast food here.
Yeah. Horseradish is going to actually dissolve a fast food burger. You can't put something
that might be a positive. Might be a positive. We're not exactly sure. We haven't contacted the scientists yet.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Before we went to go see Joker, that restaurant we went to in the mall.
Very good.
That Texas burger was amazing. I've eaten at that place 6 more times since then with my family. And I got to tell you, it takes them forever to get the food out, but not because they're lazy or lackadaisical. It's because they're actually cooking your food
Yeah.
to spec. And every time I get the Cuban sandwich there, delicious.
Uh-huh.
Get a burger there, delicious. My son's leftover burger that I ate 2 days later, delicious.
Yeah.
Still very good.
I appreciate that place because there's something I like in restaurants where, you know, there's a level of it being slow if you're in a rush, right? But that slowness also turns into allowing us to have a conversation like we did that night.
Yes.
In the meantime, and even though we were in a rush, it did take 20 minutes for us to get our food. I would be willing to wait that every time if you could have that kind of conversation.
Yeah.
Every time in before your meal. And a lot of times meals are meant to do that. Right.
Did you have any good food this week?
I went and got myself sushi this week.
Now, do you not like sushi?
I love sushi. I am a huge fan of sushi. I love it. I eat it everywhere I go. If I ever go on vacation, I get sushi. Now, there is a story that goes along with this. I had an eventful day to go get sushi, right? I was having a bad day, right? I was just getting beat up all over the place, not mentally, but physically, right? So I was like, all right, I'm going to take my lunch a little bit earlier than I normally do. I'd only gotten a 20-minute lunch the day before. I was so busy. I just went, just hosed food and came back, right? So I was like, all right, I'm going to take a little bit of a longer lunch. I'm going to go drive the distance to go get my favorite sushi place in the area, right? So I go, I pull in, and the name of the place is different. So the sign up top is different, but the name on the menu on like the advertisement on the window, because like a lunch spot, like they always do that, is the same. One is Haiku, the other is Lone Star. And I'm like, I look at it, I'm like, Lone Star, and I'm like, first of all, we're not in Texas. This is not a Lone Star style establishment.
I don't know what that has to do with Japanese food either.
Right, that's what I was getting at. This is Japanese food. This isn't like an American bar, right? Lone Star's a good name for an American bar. I give you that if you're in Texas. Go in, whatever. Same people that are always there. I sit in my same seat, right? This is the kind of level of psychopath that I actually am. Sit in the same seat that I always sit in, get in my spot, you know, get my phone out, I'm like playing on my phone or whatever, looking through Twitter most likely. Lady comes over, and I noticed they use black tea for their iced tea. And I'm like, interesting. A little bit of a weird taste, but you know what? I can dig at. I love an unsweetened iced tea. It is my favorite beverage. It's my dad's favorite beverage, right? This is a generational beverage that we all love, right?
Gotcha.
Get it? A little different. Okay. And this first red flag. I order my food. I get the lunch special, which is 3 rolls for $11. I get a California roll. I'm very basic when I do my lunches. I don't like to experiment on lunches. Dinners, I will experiment. California roll, a shrimp tempura roll, and a Philadelphia roll. And I also get a dragon roll. This is the kind of bad day I was having. This is a 4-roll day, right? This is a 4-roll day. We're not going to go over price anymore because it gets ridiculous. And, you know, you get the salad with it and it has the ginger sauce, whatever. They bring me my first plate of sushi, which is my lunch special. In walks a health inspector. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, right? Like, we work out of the same building. That's fine. Whatever. We're like, okay. Whatever. I'm eating it. First thing, he walks in, he looks at the wall, and he's like, huh. Gets on his phone. Hey, Sebastian, did you know this place is working without a permit? Yeah, this one says this name and the sign out front, and well, their receipts say another name. Okay, well, that's a red flag. He's like, hey, you guys know you're working without a permit, right? Like, you should probably get that fixed. So almost immediately, we're going to have to shut you down. Like, shit. Like, all right, whatever. I'm eating my sushi. It's fine. I'm enjoying it. I'm a little soy sauce dipping it, you know, with the little choppy sticks. I'm like, I'm eating it. And then, like, sushi guy puts my second roll up on the table right before the waitress comes over. The health inspector walks into the back. Guy behind the sushi counter runs out the door. Out! Gets in his car. Gets in his car. Gone. I'm like, okay, maybe he had a family emergency. I get to see him pick up the phone. You know, maybe it was a text message that came in. Maybe he had a family emergency. I don't know. I can't assume that this man is trying to kill me right now. And we know that I survived. I'm okay. It's been at least 48 hours, which is, everything would happen by then. Leaves. Health inspector comes back out, looks around. Like, where the hell did this guy go? Goes behind the sushi counter, looking around. Everything looks okay. And then I notice my sushi roll is still sitting up there. The hostess, or the waitress, right? Both are the same. It's lunchtime. She's nowhere to be found. 5 minutes goes by. Bring me my second roll, whatever. You know what? Still good. It was still delicious. Health inspector leaves. He gets in his car and he walks away. I also noticed he didn't eat there. So that was also a red flag to me. I was like, wow. You could have at least comforted me. I was the only person in the place. Sit down and have a meal after you inspect the place. Are you that No, you're not, clearly. Okay, you're going home. All right. That was my meal, getting sushi. It was delicious.
Oh, dude, I was all right. I was with you. That story is extremely funny, but it was taking a slow incline where you're like, the guy ran out the door, and then you couldn't find the hostess. The next thing I thought you were going to say was like, then I noticed I was the only person left in the restaurant. Looked around. Health inspectors disappeared.
No.
Sushi's it's not one of those things to be trifled with. Also, I would throw ghetto Chinese food. And you know what? Before anyone gets offended, I'll call it trailer park Chinese food as well. Those are the type of places you got to go. I got to see a hard A before I eat at any of those places. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So you remember when we worked together, I would order Japanese food once a week, right? It's the exact same spot.
Really?
That is my favorite place to eat.
It ain't going to be there tomorrow.
I'm not sure it's there today. I haven't gone by there again. Because that's out of the way for me, right? Instead of making that left, I go the right and go the other way, right? Like, a little inside baseball.
What's going on?
Yeah. So, I went there. I like almost drove by it the first time because I'm like, no, this is the spot. This is the spot. I know for a fact it is. I know where it is. I've been here plenty of times.
Gotcha.
Different name.
You know what? I've gone through that a lot in California. There have been a couple of places I've gone to in California, like taco stands, like an actual place.
Yeah.
And I show up, and it's the same taco stand, but the guy who was working there last month isn't there, and the name's different. And I'm like, what's going on right now? And the menu's only changed slightly.
Yeah. They put the cilantro on first now instead of last.
Hey, when you went to LA, did you man up and did you eat any of the street meat?
The street tacos?
Yeah.
No. I don't think we even went by like a street taco vendor. I don't know if we were in the right spot.
You guys were like in Anaheim. Nah, you probably would have missed out on that.
Yeah. I would have though, because I eat like street like dirty dogs in the city, right? I'll eat that. No worries.
I know where those things come from. I know that the homeless population went down, and the taste of those dogs went straight up. So although since De Blasio's been there, the homeless population has slowly started rising again. We're actually really hitting a critical mass at this point. Someone please come help these people. Yeah, we won't get political too early. Let me ask you a question: do you have a threshold of what meat you will eat on the street?
That's a good question. No.
All right, so let me ask you a question. Would you eat pork that was cooked on the street?
What does the guy look like?
He's a smiling little guy. He's smiling little guy. Does he hat on. He's like, hey!
Does he look like he knows how to cook pork?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Would you eat cow tongue cooked on the street?
So I wouldn't eat cow tongue regularly. So no, something outside of my normal wheelhouse, no, I would not eat.
Okay, because that's all available for California street meat. But if you ever go to Chinatown in Lower Manhattan or in California, get some pretty exotic foods on the street.
Monkey?
I don't know about that. That's like way exotic. You know, that's what that whole outbreak that they're experiencing now that made its way over a few isolated cases. If everything
coronavirus?
Yes, if everything.
So you mean there's one isolated case in the United States? We're only one. We're number one. That's why.
There's actually one real reported case. There was another guy that got forcibly removed from the airport because he had flu-like symptoms, and they got him out of there.
Burn him. I don't think can we burn people anymore?
No.
No.
But we're gonna move right along from there. So that all possibly started because they were eating illegal exotic animal meat.
Yeah, that's the way I want to go out. That's the way I want to go out. I'm going out on that bullet sword.
I don't believe in karma, but if it did exist, that would be what I consider instant karma. You ate that little cute koala, now you got an exotic disease.
Don't mention the koalas. Australia's still burning.
A whole plane of American pilots, not pilots, firefighters,
over there,
passed away.
Whoa, really?
Yep.
When?
A day ago, 2 days
I
ago.
did not hear about that. I feel like you're lying.
No, it was on. They were doing it covering on Today's Show and a few other news outlets today.
American firefighters, Australia. 3 American firefighters killed in an Australian plane crash. 3, yeah. Not in a whole plane. 3. It's not a whole plane. That's a cockpit. That's a cockpit worth of.
That was the plane. I think that was just this.
This is on Fox News. I've never been on Fox News before. Gross.
Get off of there. Quick!
I'm already gone.
The cookies are all up in you.
I had to close my browser.
What else is going on in the news? Clone Wars is getting its long-awaited the TV show that is long-awaited final season. People are going crazy.
Has it been off the air for like 10 years already?
It's been off the air for quite some time now, but now they're finally getting there.
Clone Wars is the cartoon one, right?
Yes, the 3D animation, yes.
I just call it cartoon. Be a real American.
Come on, man.
Oh, it's only been off for 6 years.
I'm sorry, say that again?
It's only been off for 6 years. 2014.
Only been off for 6 years?
Yes. It started in 2008.
Yeah, bro, that's a long time. I mean, but Will and Grace did make a comeback, and then that other show's coming back that was off for like 2 decades. So I guess.
Oh wait, they're redoing MASH too. I think.
Are they? It's nothing sacred. What else is going on? Hot topics in the news. The president is currently being impeached.
The president has been impeached. He's been brought up in formal charges. The impeachment process or the removal process is going through.
Wait, what?
So an impeachment is when
no. Say the last part because the
removal process is going through.
No, not the actual removal. No, he's not being removed. They're trying to see if he can be removed.
No, so if it goes through the Senate,
yes,
he would then be removed.
Then he would be removed.
So this is the removal process.
No. This is the trial. It's not the removal process. The removal process sounds more permanent and happening right now.
It's still a trial. Okay, I mean, I'll go for trial. That's fine.
Wait, have you watched any of it?
No,
it's not. Have you watched any of it?
No, not at all.
Oh, come on, man.
I could not care any less.
I watch it with my kids in the morning, and it's like...
And your kids probably want to shoot you.
I'm like, turn off those damn bubblegum pieces. We're going to get into something deep right now. So that's going on. And then the final thing I wanted to talk about, Wendy Williams. Is there a level of bro code that you would not be willing to break? Like, let me ask you something. Let's say this show took off, right?
You see the video of her farting on air? It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I know. She actually addressed that. She says...
No, she didn't! Oh,
yeah, she did.
No! Oh, I didn't know that.
She actually addressed it. She had all her data together. She says, I know it looks like I farted, but actually that sound that people heard was something going on with a tank in the production in the background.
Oh, yes, it was.
And she brought out the guy who was working on it. The whole crew defended her. But let's say this show took off one day, right? And you get a text from, I don't know, one of the boys, and they say, hey, I'm leaving my Twitch channel over blah, 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 blah. Would you say that out loud while you're talking to me on the show? Like, you get the text, would you read it aloud?
So, hypothetically, Reggie stopped streaming for a reason. He lets me know. Is this the scenario we're in?
Yes.
It depends. Right, there is a level of not anonymity, but like privacy that it should be respected, right?
Right.
But if the show takes off at a certain level, then that almost gets thrown out because it's like, hey, is this like I would preface it like, hey, do you want this to be an announcement or do you want like is this like no
private?
Right.
Yeah,
no, I would ask. You know what? Yeah. I can't say definitively one way or the other what I would do. I would ask.
But you would ask.
I would ask. 100%. Yeah. I'm respectful of people's privacy and stuff.
Because the assumption goes both ways, right? So depending on what type of show it is, Reggie, you would think that Reggie would go, hey, I'm not going to text Zach if you have a gossip show, right? This is not going to matter to any of our viewers. We love you guys. Thank you for the constant support. But I'm going to bring it up anyway. So in the middle of interviewing someone else, Wendy Williams stops and has like a mental breakdown and basically says she got a text from a woman, Nene Leakes, from the Atlanta Housewives.
Yeah.
Basically saying that she was going to, leave the show. But this was a text that was sent in confidence. And she did that thing she does where, people do it. They're like, I can't talk about it, but it's huge and it's big. And I'm like, that's kind of messed up. But I didn't pay any attention to it until the other outlets started reporting on it. And I was like, oh.
Do you watch it?
I watch it every morning with my wife, dude. Every morning.
All right, that's respectable.
It's one of those that's one of the things we do. And it's crazy because I try to pretend like I don't like it. I'm like, man, look at these cretins. And next thing I know, I'm like, I'm all up on the TV like, I cannot believe that.
It's like a train wreck you can't look away from, No,
I cannot. Even though I argue with Wendy in my head, I'm like, she's clearly not a real journalist. She's making many assertions without any facts to back it up. But that's all journalism today now, is
It is. It is, right? You state.
Are you looking up the Wendy Williams fart? What
no.
are you doing?
No, I can't. No. I did zone out a little bit. These talking of celebrities and famous people and TV shows, it really, really bores me to death.
I know, man.
I can't. I don't like any of it, and that's why I can't let you go off, man. I'll let you do you, right? I'll let you go off on your rant.
A little bit, man.
I'll let you go off on your rant.
I listened to your version of the story of what happened at the sushi restaurant. Even though I know it probably went down a little bit more like this, you went in there, spit in the poor little lady's face and said, hey, bring me my food right now. I called the health inspector. Brought your boy in from the building. It's like, hey, yo, George, check this out. They don't have a permit. Sounds like free sushi to me. Then like 8 more of your friends showed up.
I paid $30 for that sushi, sir.
You're a moron. No one pays $30 for a health level C sushi.
Wow,
so that for like 15.
25 plus tip.
25 plus tip.
It's $30. Yeah.
Right. What's going on, Zach? Take me to topic number one. What the hell is going on? What do we
got down? Could you believe Paige Van Zandt broke her arm again?
Wow.
This is the third break.
Now, was this break during sparring? Tell me what happened.
From what I see, there's not been a official release yet, other than for whatever reason, Paige Van Zandt always releases her surgery pictures.
Yes.
Of her arm open, which I find interesting, and I get queasy super easy, and you know that.
Yeah.
But I find this interesting, right? I'm like, okay, whatever. What happens when you open an arm? It's not good. I almost died on the way home as I was looking at this while I'm driving. But she broke it again. In like under the spot that she broke it last time, a minor fracture across. And minor, it means the bone was like entirely separated and shifted. It had to have been in sparring.
Inactive now for how many years? 2 or just over 1?
Probably less time than Connor was inactive.
Because I'm wondering at what point, because she's had a really big life change. She got married prior to all this stuff happening. I believe she lost her last fight, if I remember correctly, or did she win? I can't even remember when her last fight was, to be honest.
She got an armbar in her last fight, didn't she? She armbarred Rachel Ostovich. And hold on. Just over a year ago.
Just over a year.
January 19th. But her last fight before that was January 14th of 2018.
Oh, very inactive. And she was doing Dancing with the Stars for a little while.
And her fight before that was December 17th of 16.
She got choked out in one of those fights. So she fights every...
Yeah, by Michelle Watterson.
Yeah. And then she got pummeled by Rose. Did she lose to Rose? I believe she got pummeled as well by Rose. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Paige Van Zandt was one of the first people that Reebok signed for the endorsement, and she has not lived up to the expectation of the UFC. But a lot of that's not her fault, right? Some of it was the type of pressure that was put on her and Sage when they got picked up by the UFC and what they were going to be able to accomplish. I always saw Paige Van Zandt for exactly what she was. She's a pretty good grinding fighter that can beat lower tier fighters.
Yeah, she's not a.
She'll whoop my ass. There's no doubt about it.
For
She'll
sure.
come here right now.
Yeah, with her broken arm, she would kill you. I agree. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, she beat Felice Herrig at one point.
She dominated her.
Right.
Absolutely dominated her.
And Felice has gotten way better since then, right?
Yeah, she got punched in the eye by some drunk broad in after the Conor fight.
Really?
Yeah, it was all over Instagram. So she's not gotten that much better.
Never mind. I'm taking all this back. Yeah, Paige Van Zandt is she's not a top 5. She might not even be a top 10 in the women's division.
But what do you think she goes from here, man? Like, so she's going to be out with another significant fracture.
Probably
break.
6 to 9 months.
And she just started her verbal negotiations via social media with the UFC to try to get a title shot at one. Was she trying to move? Was she trying to go up or down? She was trying to go up to.
Yeah, I think she's trying to go up.
Yeah,
dude, she's only 25, man.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that she can't come back and have a thriving career in Bellator for sure.
But the issue is with that, man. 3 breaks in a year.
Yeah.
3 breaks in a year means that there is something seriously wrong with that arm.
Yes.
And it is not being addressed.
No.
You can put as many bolts and plates and screws as you want in that arm, but as soon as that stuff comes out and you hit a bag and it breaks, she was only cleared to start sparring, maybe 2 months ago?
Yeah, but the question is, what type of sparring is she doing in the gym? So we don't know what caused the break, but is she in the gym where they're doing a lot of hard sparring? Is she taking live kicks to the arm? Or is the arm so brittle at this point that anything breaks it?
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that.
Has she released any other statement, or was this more IG stuff?
It was an Instagram thing, but that's how everyone does everything nowadays, though.
Yeah, no class. You need a publicist to make a long, sweeping statement, get some airtime on a few networks and stuff like that.
No, that's the old days, dude.
Old days. There's no such thing as the old days.
That's the old days. You had to go out. Okay, she's saying 6 to 8 weeks to heal. She said she'd be back ready to take a fight in May.
Okay, that's not bad. Who's she going to fight?
This is the second time I broke through a screw hole where my plate in my arm is. 3rd break in a 3rd spot. Dude. Oh, she has a permanent plate there now. Mm-hmm. It was breaking off of a screw hole. Interesting.
Didn't this whole thing start with her complaining about the first break, and then she have surgery? I feel like
she's
there was
had
an
3
accusation.
surgeries now.
I feel like there was an accusation at the beginning of this where she felt like her surgery was botched.
After the first one, yes.
Yes.
And she went to a different doctor. I haven't kept up with it the best, but I've kept up with it clearly a little bit here.
Well, it's hard being a stalker.
Have you seen the new TV show You? It glorifies us.
Don't include me in that inclusive us. That's one group. I don't want to be a part of. I'm not going to get a seat at the table.
Hold on. Let's figure out the moral of the story. What does she do from here? Does she go into a more successful modeling career, or should she continue to fight in the bottom 10 of the women's division, which is clearly only number 2 to number 12 because they aren't picking up any women for any of the divisions, right?
Right.
What does she do?
Okay, I'm going to take a long shot at this, and no one's going to agree with me. She lets her arm heal up. She takes another fight in the UFC. She wins that fight, and she's already in title contention because that's how shallow and in flux the division is.
Yes.
Right? That's all it takes is for her to rally her fans, rally her base, and then she can get a title shot. But she needs a win over someone dominant. You know what I'm saying? So I say we put in there with a Claudia Gadelha.
She'd get fucking stomped, though.
Yeah, but you know what? If she gets stomped and she doesn't get murdered, her stock goes up. But if she even wins 2 rounds and possibly finishes her, you can't deny her a championship fight. And right now the division's in a place you got to strike right now, because who's going to pick her up for any modeling or sponsorship stuff right now at this point in her career? Why would they?
She just did Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition.
That's not sponsorship. That's nude pics, man. That's one step in the wrong direction.
No, but I'm saying modeling. I'm not saying like she's gonna go do fucking. No, I'm not saying she's gonna go fucking like model fight kits for Reebok. She's gonna go be a model, right? Like
she's too short to be a model. What do you mean, like an athletics model, like women's fitness model?
Something, but she'll find a career. Like she literally could probably make more money than she does because she hasn't fought, right? She's fought 3 times in 4 years.
Right. I wonder what her deal's like.
Apparently, it's amazing. Right? We fought 4 times 3. She could probably make more money being some sort of influencer on Instagram.
Yeah. No, I mean, I actually like Paige VanZant's personality, like outside of the UFC. She's seems like a very tender-hearted, sweet person. And I think she catches a lot of slack for just being the pretty girl. She's never said or did that thing where she's offended anyone, said anything offensive, said anything controversial. All she's ever said is, I want the opportunity to be the best fighter I can be. So she caught a lot of slack for camp jumping. But in reality, that's what a young fighter has to do sometimes to make sure they're being groomed and grow. And then she had the unfortunate luck of dating your boy, Cody Garbrandt. And then, that got out and she was over at Alpha Male. Their gym, a lot of people come and go. So that wasn't on her. And I think that just gave her reputation a little stain, but it was undeserved. All she's ever done is shown up to fight. That's the one thing I've always respected her for. Like, there are a few fights she won where I was like, oh, you're being served up to get murderized. And she showed up to fight. You know, she didn't, I don't even think she tapped when Michelle took her back and strangled her to death. She just went out. Like, she went out fighting. She did the Holly Holmes thing where it's like, she kept going. Oh, did we talk about that? Did we talk about the Holly Holmes fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just got edited. It goes up Monday.
All right. I think Paige VanZant goes on to have a TV show that gets canceled, like one of those daytime shows.
Like us.
I wish we got some airtime and then got canceled.
Yeah. NBC, ABC, CBS, PBS, History Channel.
PBS would be perfect for us.
History Channel, dude. History.
Maybe even
Discovery.
What about public access cable? Like Wayne's.
No.
There was a guy.
SNL.
No, nobody wants to be on that sinking ship.
Eddie Murphy.
It won't die. It is literally like that dog. You told everyone, like, oh man, Ginger's dying. You posted it. And then 2 years later, Ginger's still living. You're like, well, I feel like a dick.
And then you go back on the sly and delete that post.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you guys are crazy. What the fuck are you talking about? Ginger's healthy as shit, bro.
And someone sends you a screenshot. What else we got going here?
What else we got going?
All right. So I'm going to do this for the nerdum and the fandom. Everyone was really pumped up prior to Han Solo's movie coming out, his solo movie.
What was the movie called?
Han Solo. But I'm going somewhere with this. So prior to Han Solo coming out, Disney had released their slate for Star Wars movies, and it was going to be Solo, then Obi-Wan. It was going to be the world was joined together universally, holding hands, waiting anxiously for movies they had not asked for. No one asked for a Han Solo movie, but people still got excited. Obi-Wan, people were way more excited. Han Solo bombed. It's not actually a bad movie. Just no one asked for it, so no one went to go see it.
It's just called Solo.
Oh, yeah. But I'm saying Han Solo because that's his name. No one cares about that movie Solo, so we're going to call it Han Solo.
It did $400 million.
It bombed. It didn't even get the projections they thought it was going to get.
All right, that's fair.
So Obi-Wan was next up, right? Then it got postponed indefinitely because of the Solo situation. They put a lot of other projects on hold.
I heard about all this, sure.
And then Obi-Wan never made it. Then it was revitalized with Disney Plus. It's like, Obi-Wan's getting a show. We all got happy again, only to find out yesterday that Obi-Wan was being put on hold indefinitely. Some people use the word cancel. Other people say indefinitely. So I did my research before I freaked out. And as I was hyperventilating because I was sitting on the toilet taking a poo, and then I finally got to the bottom of it. It's not being canceled. It's only being put on hold because they were going to use the original script from the movie, and now they're reworking it for TV, for Disney Plus, so they don't have to make an unnecessary 6 episodes, and they're going to trim it down to 4. And
so they're just doing just 4 episodes. So it's not
like.
even a
series.
It's a mini series.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that because if you look at the gap between what happens at the end of Revenge of the Sith up into New Hope, there's not much story you can squeeze in there. And I don't want to see Obi-Wan running around the desert doing stuff, right? We just
Sounds fun.
Just want a little bit of story. But again, the internet outrage came out and the panic began and IGN started releasing their stuff. And then at the end of the day, it just really boils down to we're doing 4 episodes. We want to bring you quality stuff. I think they're trying to further detach themselves from the Kathleen Kennedy situation over there at Disney and Star Wars. And they're like, we got to fix this. before we release something that Disney Plus can't recover
That's
from.
fair.
Because right now, the streaming service is doing well, but they need their next original content to be as big as The Mandalorian, if not bigger. Everything has to hit at this point because they have other original content on there that nobody's watching, apparently. Jeff Goldblum has a show. William
Really?
Dafoe has, Life According to Jeff.
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, William Dafoe has a show on there too.
Dafoe?
He's in either a movie or like an original movie that's on there. I didn't know about it. It's called Pogo or something crazy about an Alaskan Husky. I don't know what it is. But they need their shows to do good. So we got that slated. I'm pulling for him, man. I know you don't care about any of this stuff, but Ewan McGregor is coming back to reprise his role as Obi-Wan. So that ought to be interesting. You kind of look like Ewan McGregor. Like, just a little bit.
The most racist thing anyone's ever said to me?
No. I like your shirt, Zach.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I like it too. I just got it yesterday.
And shout out that guy's merch.
No. Doesn't get any more shout outs on this show. Absolutely not.
That's what they're doing, man. So for all you Obi-Wan fans patiently waiting, don't worry. Until Disney says it's canceled, it's just on hold.
Thanks. You guys heard it here first. Steve's report of, what was that?
Obi-Wan.
The Obi-Wan television miniseries. Wow. Riveting information, Steve. I really do appreciate you going out in the field and doing.
I was out in the field on this one.
You went out in the field. you did your footwork.
I did.
On down to Florida, right? To go down to
really touchy. They're really handsy people. I barely.
Steve did his own actual survey, and this is the information that we had. Steve, what was the survey results? How many people were for the Obi-Wan show?
There are only 5 people in my. There are only 5 people in my house, and I'm the only one that cares about it. So
one out of 4. How many people were against the Obi-Wan show?
Everyone with the same last name as me, turned on me at the dinner table. No one was for it.
So it was a 4-to-1 ratio of against to 4. Okay, all right.
My 5-year-old was like, "I don't know what you're saying right now, Dad." I'm like, "I don't know what I'm saying either."
I'm sorry.
Zach, you got a new mouse?
I got a new mouse. I got what's called the Glorious Model O. It is.
Is that the real name?
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
that's the real
it's
name.
not the glorious name. Model O. That sounds like something you get arrested for. Oh, it is. Oh my goodness.
So basically, there's another mouse brand called Final Mouse, or another mouse called Final Mouse. Please focus, please. Thank you. There's another mouse brand called Final Mouse. It's very similar to the mouse that I have, but I guess it's technically a higher quality or whatever. But it's 3 times the price of what I got. Right? I knew of this mouse vaguely from Reddit. So I decided to go with a ultra lightweight mouse. I've been using a Razer Death Adder for years. It's my preferred mouse. I've only used it for a few hours, this mouse, so I don't really have an opinion on it just yet. But so far, so good. I like it. Okay. I do like the weight difference. It is like there is no effort in moving it. It's 58 grams. Right.
Can I see it one more time? It looks extremely small. I know it's about the same size.
It's not extremely small. It's about the same size. Please focus. 3, 2. Thank you. It's the same size as the other mouse, the Glorious Model O and the Death Adder we're speaking of here. I like it. It's really lightweight, 3D printed. Laser's pretty good. Everything is pretty good so far. So
nice tactile feel. Clicky, click, 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 click.
Yeah, I don't care about that. But yeah, I guess it's pretty clicky. I don't know. I don't care about. Keyboard I do like. Mouse, I just want it to do the thing that I want it to do.
All right.
Right. So it was nice. I usually like a more heavy mouse. Death Adder. You have one. I have one. There's probably another one in my pile somewhere of technology of yesteryear. Right. Like, I don't know. I took a leap. I actually talked a lot of shit about this mouse. I went down to a Micro Center not too far from here, and by not too far I mean at least 73 hours. I don't know where it was.
Right. I know where you were. It's a dangerous area if you take it the wrong right past that Burger King that's across the street from it.
Yeah.
I know exactly where you were.
And if you take another right past there a few streets down, you get to White Castle. And it's amazing.
There's
and
not a White Castle anywhere where there isn't a high crime rate. I want you
I
to
know.
look it
And
up.
if you go into a White Castle and you feel comfortable, it's not going to be a good experience.
Nope.
It's going to be the worst White Castle you've ever had, and that's not a high bar.
Go ahead. You were talking shit about the mouse.
I actually, like, when we were there, I was looking for 240 hertz monitors, and this happened to be hooked up to one of them. So I like grabbed it and started playing around with it. I'm like, I don't like this lightweight mouse. I feel like I could throw it really far. So then, I really thought about it, and I'm like, maybe if I had a lighter weight mouse, I would be able to maybe move a little bit easier. And it literally just feels like, and this is why I think I'm really gonna like this mouse. It just feels like an extension of my hand. Right, because it's so light that it doesn't take anything to move. That I just feel like I'm moving my hand to decide where I'm gonna go.
So you haven't gamed with it yet at all?
I've played Tarkov. Yes, I have played Tarkov with it. Yeah.
How's that feel?
It's hard to tell on one day. It's hard to tell.
Okay.
On one day. So
I don't. You're in love in like the first interaction. Are you in love with it? Yes, no. Don't be scared. First emotion, spit it out.
I'm so analytical with these things because being good at a game is important to me in some aspects that I don't have an opinion yet.
Okay.
But I reserve all opinions until I get 24 hours in it.
All right. I can respect that. Something I wanted to talk to you about, because you're a business guy and the mouse reminded me of this. We had talked about it briefly, and I did some more research. I said I'd get back to you. Remember that PlayStation 4 DualShock remote back paddle situation?
So, hold on a second. This will now be the fourth time on air that we have talked about this. Two other podcasts.
I'm going to talk about it again.
And on this upcoming week's
it's only going to be brief. It's going to be brief.
$30. I understand.
The reviews are in.
Okay, reviews are in. This is actually exciting. You should have led with the reviews section of this. I'm excited now. Okay, you have me hooked. You have 30 seconds before I fall asleep. Go ahead.
The reviews are in, and there is not one person that's given it a bad review. And I'm talking about, I went to those guys that hate everything on YouTube, and they've all said the same thing. The package, the most lackluster thing. Oh, 2 cons about it thus far in all the reviews I've watched.
Yes.
Everyone was like, the unboxing experience is pretty lame, but that's how they cut corners to give you the money. 2, people are really scared they're going to break their remote when they're putting it on. And no matter what, they're like, you're not going to break your remote. So I don't know if you know this, the PlayStation 4 DualShock remote, the headphone jack is actually on an incline. So it's not straight.
Yes.
So when you put when you're clipping it in, the actual headphone portion of the back paddle, it swivels up and down, and that terrifies people. In fact, there are just as many videos online of people being like, I don't know if I'm going to do this, man, but everyone's really enjoyed it.
So
now the question is for you, business guy, was there a license between Scuf and PlayStation, and why wasn't this merchandise released earlier?
No. I would say that there wasn't. Does Scuf have a patent on the paddles, or do they have it on the fact that it's built into the controller? They have a patent on one or the other. They have a product that you just add it to the back, if I remember correctly. But do they have that patent? Right, that would be the question that I would have to ask and have to have answered before I could tell you if there was some sort of licensing. But I bet you if PlayStation did license it from Scuf, there would have to be some sort of disclosure.
Okay, so they would have to lead with that, right?
I would imagine, but I'm not 100% positive.
All right. So anyone, for the sake of no dead air, the reviews are in. People are enjoying it. They also said the same thing you said with the mouse, that they got to give themselves more gameplay time with it. But people who've played with the Astro remote and the Scuf remote said that this is not only a good supplement, it's an affordable one as well. Okay. So the question becomes, do we see it standard on the DualShock 5, which that's what they're going to name the PlayStation 5 remote. All right, that's like that. That's going to be the name. They have not stirred. They haven't strayed away from this. It's working for them, but it's in. And I'm anxiously.
So my real question is, who did they send it to?
Who did they? No, these are. I don't watch those reviews. I don't watch sponsored reviews. I purchased this with my money reviews.
Okay, that's fair. So they didn't send these people.
No, they didn't. Not any interviews I ever watched. Not any of the PlayStation gamers that I watch on YouTube that I respect their opinion. The only person I'm really waiting to weigh in on it, and I'm not going to big up his channel, but if you just Google honest reviews, if this guy co-signs it, then I'm going to be like, all right, because he buys everything on his own.
Okay.
And tests it extensively on his stream.
That's fair.
And if it sucks, he's going to tell you it sucks. Midstream, he was playing with the Astro, and he was like, this is bullshit.
Trash. That's what I like in reviewers, that they give me their honest opinion. And I can definitely appreciate that.
So $20, you don't want to spend $200. It's looking like at this point, I haven't used it myself. I'm not going to co-sign it, but it's looking like we've got an affordable product that's working for people.
So how much is a PlayStation controller?
On average, $59.
$59. Okay.
Yes. You can get an out-of-market one for like $34.
Well, a licensed controller,
About
$60.
$60. Yeah,
$60. And how much are the paddles?
$25.
Are they 25 or are they 30? Because at one point you told me they were 30.
I thought they were 30, but I've seen it at different prices. I got mine for $20.
You bought them?
No, I didn't buy it. Of course, I don't have money in my own. I don't buy shit like that. But if I was to get it at the big store with a discount, it would be 20.
Okay. What's the actual price is 25? Is this what you're telling me? So we're $85 into a...
Now, you got to remember, how many people have previously owned PlayStation 4 remotes?
No. That's not the point.
Okay.
We are now $85 into a controller, right?
Right.
Because at some point you purchase that $60 controller. And at some point you're going to purchase this $25 attachment, right?
Right.
So we're $85 into a controller. The cheapest SCUF you get is $140.
Yes.
Now, what else do you get with a SCUF?
So here's the thing with SCUF controllers. You do get those mappable paddles. I believe you get, 4? In total?
2 or 4.
2 or 4 mappable paddles. There is software that you can use to create profiles for the paddles. But this just in, the DualShock 4 back paddles actually has onboard memory for 3 profiles.
No, that's not what I was asking. I don't care about the profiles.
Yeah.
What else do you get with a SCUF?
You get the name brand.
That's fair. That you cannot get with a PlayStation controller, right?
I don't know. Now you've got me on the hook, man.
Levels of customability, right?
Okay.
You get custom buttons. You can get custom concave versus convex thumbsticks, right? Custom location of where your thumbstick is. You could put it on the bottom, even with the other one, or where the D-pad goes, right?
Right.
A lot of customability. The back is gripped, right? A PlayStation controller is very smooth on the back. I don't know if I have one handy. I do. Right. It's a very broken one. It's very smooth on the back because it's just paint, right? It's smooth.
Yeah.
SCUF,
that's a PlayStation 3 remote, isn't it?
It is, correct. SCUF textures the back of their controller, right? So you have better grip, right? You're getting the build quality that's not Sony.
Yeah.
Right, because let's be fair, Sony has poor build quality. All 4 of the controllers that I have here are all cracked in some fashion.
That's because you throw them.
Yeah, so what?
You throw a SCUF controller, it's going to break too.
No, this is where I'm going with. So you get a level of build quality, right, and quality assurance, and you get the customer support that you don't get through Sony, right? Is that worth the $55 on top? Or $65 on top, excuse me. Is that worth the extra $65?
That's for the market to decide. So it's just coming out.
But SCUF is incredibly successful, right?
Right.
Does SCUF?
They're not having the problems that the Xbox Elite controllers are. But SCUF has had some issues in a very minority group at this point of returns. People feeling like the last release was a cash grab, and there's been some remote failure. But that's to be expected when you're shipping a bunch of units. I agree with you. You're paying for not only the build quality and SCUF, you're also paying for the experience. If you play at that level, absolutely buy a SCUF. If you do not play at that level, but you do want to enjoy some button remapping, get yourself a $30 paddle. You got to know where you fit in the grand scheme of these things, right?
Yes.
That's my opinion on it. What are you spending $140 for if you don't play competitively? Who are you playing that you need that level of accessibility if you're just playing with your homeboys? Do you need that?
Now, here's a very hypocritical point that you bring up. You play on a keyboard now.
I do play on a keyboard.
What is the most customizable thing you could play on. A keyboard.
Yeah.
But you're not playing at a competitive level. So go play on a console.
Wait, hold on for a second. That's not actually hypocritical. That's
Very.
Actually just
you said why if you're not playing at a competitive level, why do you need that level of customability?
Au contraire, Monfrey. The only reason I play on the keyboard was for the sake of this channel. I could have just as easily been playing on a remote.
Good.
But I did it.
Cancel the channel then. Go back to being a console player.
Why do you say console like that? Say
consoles are stupid.
Say console.
Console?
There you go.
So go back to being a console player.
This is all I'm saying is there's a market for this for people. I don't know where it's going to go.
But don't paint them into a niche though. Right?
Paint who into a niche?
The people who use scuffs. Or the people who should be available. No, you just did.
That's not what. No.
I said you phased them into a small section.
I gave people an option. If you do not need that level of customability, go ahead and buy this.
But there's a difference between need and want. And the market, your market is based off of want, not need. If your market was based off of need, Scuff would have never succeeded.
Hold on for a second. The market dictates that you got to have healthy competition. And I'm saying that there are people who've always wanted to enjoy having a Scuff, but cannot afford to pay those premium prices.
There were
people. Hold on for a second. You're doing that Elizabeth Warren thing, and I'm Bernie Sanders right now. Let me get my Bernie Sanders on.
All right, you white-haired freak. Let's go.
But here's the thing I'm saying, right? There is a chance for other people. That's the face he made at the debate, so you know it, dude. Like at one point, he started barking at the mic. There are people who can't afford that. There are people who might not need that. And this might be a good low testing ground for some people.
Your market is based off of want and not need, right? But they're in two different markets too.
Yes,
you're in a exclusive market versus a entry level market, right? They're in two different markets. But the exclusive market, or not the exclusive, the enthusiast market grows the bigger your entry level market is, because people are going to go from that and go, hey, I spent $80 on this controller. I like it, but let's see what the $150 controller is about, right? This is only good for Scuff. So this is just getting people into entry level.
They're going to step up from it. They're
going to step up, right?
Okay.
They're going to step up.
So they're in cahoots.
No, I would not say that. Just in the same aspect that I would not say NVIDIA and AMD are in cahoots, right? But if you do a budget build with an AMD graphics card, at some point you're going to switch to an NVIDIA when you think you need it, right? There is a difference. It's not the same with Intel and AMD anymore because the processors are 1-to-1. I would say at this point, Intel did really well Q4 last year though. So let's be fair. Intel still has 80% of market share or whatever it is. It might even be more than that if I remember the graph correctly, right? But the top end AMD processors, the $300-$500 AMD processors, are very similar to the $300-$500 Intel processors.
Well, hold on. If I could just interject in that before we go too deep on the tangent, but they are very much beginning to take over the conversation, even if the market share doesn't reflect that. Like people are starting to support AMD and seeing that they actually, there was a lot of controversy behind that whole fake thread thing that they're trying to forget about there, but they're starting to move away from that. And it's looking good for them. I still think that Intel controls the market share, but the AMD conversation is starting to look really good.
Okay, let's be fair. I just pulled up the market share.
Yeah.
Intel as a company sold $70 billion in 2018, where AMD sold 6.5.
That's insane.
Intel is more than 10 times larger. But in Q3 of 2019, and I was just looking at a graph here somewhere. I would like to see the graph juxtaposed to Intel versus AMD, but it doesn't seem to want to give me that. It looks like AMD has about a 30% market share. So it's 70-30 Intel AMD. And in most aspects, and that's probably very similar to what the McDonald's versus Wendy's market share probably is. Yeah. That's a success when you're going up against a giant that is Intel.
Did you know that Microsoft might be releasing the next stint of Surfaces with AMD chipsets exclusively?
They are. Yeah, I've heard that. And so Mac is going that direction as well.
Yeah.
So what you have to remember, though, is most servers are using Intel. And most servers most likely will continue to use Intel. The Xeon platform is very good and is in some fashion slightly more affordable than the Threadripper that we're looking at. That's equivalent to a Xeon, which is hilarious to say because they're both $20,000 processors or whatever.
There was another thing I wanted to throw out your way since we're going down this little tangent here, but it slipped and it'll probably come back in a little bit. So we were talking about the PlayStation Remote, the back paddles. A lot of people also believe this is just the preview to what the DualShock 5 is going to look like. It came back around just that quickly. Not looking good for Xbox, the new Xbox already. And remember we were talking about there was a reason they launched so early. Like there was something that they could be potentially hiding. So there are some reports surfacing. And this is an alleged at this point. We don't know if it's concrete. You know how they said they're going to have base models, mid models, and high tier models?
Yes.
So apparently, one of the ways they're bringing us the base model, if this report is to be true, is the M.2 that they're going to use in there. The speed, the read and write speeds are comparable to your normal mechanical drive.
Okay. So that doesn't bother me as much on a console as much as it would if I were to buy that. A standard SATA M.2 as versus a NVMe M.2. Right. Still it's going to be faster than a spinner, for sure. But it's not going to be the level of even probably an SSD. Right. But it's somewhere in between the two.
Have you ever looked at the load time difference between SSD and mechanical in a console before?
No. I use a regular mechanical.
Okay. It's about, in some games, some instances, we're talking about fractions of seconds versus minutes. Like 5 seconds. Yeah. 5 seconds to minutes. But
yeah, I thought the one that people look at is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But even on my PC, and it's installed in my SSD, it is minutes to get into a game.
Really?
Yes. Yes. And it has been like that since day one. Since before the 100 gig of patches or whatever it is.
Oh my God, I'm never gonna play that game. You just said that, and I was awash with a sense of never playing that game.
It is so much fun.
I might go back and play San Andreas.
Very good. Doesn't really run well on a PC.
No, I'll just play on the PlayStation 2.
That's a good call. I actually might still have my copy. So. We're staying in the console realm here. There's actually a conference for Sony in February. Yeah. Sony's not going to E3, right? No. What I think was supposed to be when they were going to reveal was when Cyberpunk came out. That got pushed back. So I think they moved this up. And that's just speculation on my part. I have seen a lot of leaks of some games coming out, though. There's thinking there's going to be a new Killzone. Killzones are fun, right? There's rumors of a SOCOM, but there's rumors of a SOCOM every year, right? But there's some rumors of some throwback games too. So we'll see. We'll see what PlayStation does, right? We'll see what Sony does with PlayStation. You got to remember, it's hard for Sony to devote a lot of money into PlayStation, even though PlayStation is the only thing keeping Sony afloat most years.
Oh man, they had that one Spider-Man movie that one time though.
How much did it sell?
I think it was in the hundreds of millions, but it was an animated movie, so that's like what you're in the profit margin pretty early, I would assume, right?
Less than you'd expect.
Yeah,
I bet you it was $100 million movie budget.
But no, you're actually right. That is I believe, the most liquid part. Their TV division is all but extinct at this point. You can still buy a Sony TV, but they've been pulled out of a few different retailers, and we saw that happen. There was some speculation at one point that Apple was going to buy them out just for the PlayStation division.
Yeah.
But that never came through. I'm interested to see at this point, like the hype, it's got to live up to the hype, right? Whatever the big reveal is, if they pull one more stunt where they just reveal a logo at this event, people are going to become almost, well, actually, I won't say disinterested. They just won't care until it's time to pick up their console. So I don't know what type of long game they're playing.
Well, there are no hardware specs officially released for anything yet. Right.
No.
So I don't know if they'll throw that card that early, because at this point it is probably still within the manufacturing side of things. It's probably still early enough if Sony comes out and is like, hey, Threadripper, Navi, like dual SSDs in RAID 0, $500. We got a deal. Easy enough for Microsoft to go and negotiate that same deal, right?
Yeah.
If somehow, obviously Sony couldn't, no one could do that. But if that, they can't throw their cards out too early. You're not going to see, there'll be another Sony press conference, not at E3, but around E3, because they're not going this year. So you'll see something around then, I would think. But this will be like a PlayStation 5 is coming. These are some launch titles type of thing.
So there was a verified dev kit released where a developer showed what the UI was going to look like for the PlayStation 5. Obviously, very similar to what the PS4 looks like.
And the 3.
Yes. Yeah. Well, 4, the jump from 4 and 3 was kind of drastic in regards to the user interface. But the only reason this seems kind of legit is because there are certain things, if you know what to look for, like, okay, I can see how this was a developer kit that they were just testing the UI out on. But that's it. Everything else has been really closed, except for the shoehorn. The controller leak and the shoehorn developer kit accounts that they showed, and everyone's like, I'm not buying that thing if that's how it looks. But
yeah,
have you ever seen what the developer kit for the PlayStation 3 looked like?
It was hilarious.
It's a monstrosity.
Yeah.
Like that thing is like a brick.
So I found a leak that's way more likely of what it's actually going to look like. I can't really link it right now, but I will link you after. But this is most likely what it'll look like. It's very similar to a PS4, but slightly different, and that's really it. So
you can link me. Just put it in the documents right here.
Oh yes, we have this technology.
There
you go. You can look at that.
I mean, the only thing, I don't know, man. So I was watching someone do the hypothetical. Yeah, I saw this earlier, and I actually thought this minimalistic.
This is exactly what it'll look like.
I think this is a good look. I think this is a very good look, actually.
I do too.
Someone did. Last thing we're going to say about the consoles, and then we'll move on. Someone did what we talked about doing. They spec'd out what it would be to build the new Xbox.
I did it myself. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was actually really close to the number you came up to. All things considered, I'll link you the video. His build came up to $1,200.
Yeah, I think I did it freehand though, right?
Yeah,
I
you were hovering
like, this is going to be this.
Yeah,
$1,100.
Yeah, so I thought it was pretty cool. And but performance-wise, he was like, the Xbox would what they will release the high-end version. He's like, we'll probably blow this out of the water for less the price. And then he went into why they're going to be able to release those specs at that price. Like, we're talking about a company that's buying it in bulk. They're releasing in bulk.
Yes, it's simple manufacturing.
Yeah,
absolutely. Just on a note before we get off here, I wish Scuf would maybe not make a keyboard, but let's do a keyboard collab, Scuf.
Yeah,
let's do a keyboard collab. Call up Razer. Actually, wait, Scuf just got bought by Corsair.
Yes, they did.
Call up Corsair. Let's get a crossover. Let's get a Scuf branded.
What are you looking for? Are you looking for paddles on your keyboard? Or are you just looking for something to advance the technology?
Not even. You're not going to advance the keyboard technology, right? Because with a keyboard, my iKey could become a copy and paste of the B movie script, right?
Okay.
So you can customize it until everything, but give me the look and feel of a Scuf in a keyboard. I think it would look good.
So I was watching some 3D prints of devices that people have come up with doing the whole Patreon thing, and one device was actually really cool. But I was like, no one's buying this. So you know how Razer released the handheld kind of keyboard situation with the joystick?
Yeah, I wish I could remember what it was called.
So there's another one that came out where someone basically 3D grafted and mapped out something that looks and fits entirely in the hands, and all the tactiles respond just to your fingers. And the guy who was playing with it, he was like, I got to be honest, it was really great to game on. He was like, it took a little while to get used to, but once you get used to those commands being literally right at your fingertips, and so your hand kind of rests on the object
it's
like this.
Nostromo.
Is that it? Is that the name?
Razer Nostromo.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this was actually a lot of WoW players would use this for extra key commands.
Wait, let me just make sure we're talking about, because I know what I think I know what the Nostromo is, but
yeah.
Not the one.
So, but I mean, like, I also thought that I would never buy anything for macros,
no.
And yet I have a it's hard to show. Yeah, I have an Elgato, right?
Okay,
that's macros. It's hooked up to my my recording computer. Right? I like it a lot. I liked it more when I was streaming, but I still like it. So, there's always room for improvements and room for additions, but
yeah, I mean, and I think a lot of people just like you are just wanting to see. Okay, I know there's not much you can do with the keyboard, but you want to see something different, right? You want to see what can happen, what else can happen.
Maybe
I think that's what a lot of people are looking for.
Maybe. So while we're on consoles,
go for it.
Let's talk about the first week of the Call of Duty World League or the Call of Duty League. I don't know exactly what the nomenclature is. I looked up CDL. I think it's what they're abbreviating it as CDL. But the Call of Duty League first weekend, first game, opening game. What would you put? See, if you are in charge of the Call of Duty League, you have 12 teams from across the globe coming together week 1 in Minnesota, where the Minnesota Lakers used to play before they moved to LA, the Traitors. Who are you putting game 1 as your opener? Which teams are you putting game 1 as your opener? There's only one answer to this question.
Oh, you're going Huntsman and what's the other one?
And Dallas.
Yeah.
And who wins? And who wins based off of the talk and the scrim results and everything on paper going into this event? Dallas.
You're saying Dallas?
Dallas.
Okay.
Dallas has played more than everyone else. They're more successful in scrims. They scrim more than everyone else. They're more professional, let's say, in practice and in play than everyone else.
Right.
And did they get smoked?
Did they get smoked, man?
3-1. Chicago dropped them 3-1. I just wanted to put that out there.
All right.
I'm not a fan of either team. I don't have a team yet.
But your boy is on Huntsman, isn't he?
What boy?
Your boy.
I don't know who your boy is. If I were being true, I'd like to root for the New York team because I could go and watch their events.
What team does Scump play for?
Huntsman.
Is that not your boy? Are you
That's
turning
not
Coda?
My boy.
Who is he to you? You love that
Scump?
man.
I've been a fan for a while, but I'm not saying he's my boy. But I mean, Scump.
You're like, I don't know him. I wasn't outside his house. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I've never been to PA where he lives. Lived. So anyway,
you stalker.
Here's the issue with what's going on. They peaked at 84,000 viewers. First of all, they signed exclusive to YouTube. They didn't announce it until 4 hours before they went live.
Yep.
So no one knew where to find it. There was rumors that they were going to go back to MLG TV. I don't know if you know the MLG TV story, but at one point it essentially killed the entire Call of Duty competitive scene.
Okay.
There was rumors they were going to go back to that. They no idea where it was going to go until 4 hours before they announced it's going to YouTube. Good. I kind of expected that. Fwiz, who is the head of Google Gaming, is the literal global head of Google Gaming, started off as an MLG caster.
Okay.
That is, if that's not the biggest come up anyone's ever had, ever.
Huge.
Bro, he was a freelance MLG caster over Halo games, I think, at one point. In like 2005. He is now the head of Google Gaming.
Right.
Works for Google, is a Google executive. That's the biggest come up of all time. But he started with these guys way back when. Why wouldn't they sign with YouTube? That just makes sense.
No, that makes total sense. But them peaking at, how much was it? 86,000?
85,000, let's say.
85,000.
Yep.
So your biggest thing you've said is it's hard to get people to click a link.
It's hard.
Was there another option for them that would have garnered more views? And what do you think the numbers they were expecting? I know this is all speculation on your part, but you put yourself in their frame. What do you think, in the projection meeting, what do you think that number was they were looking at that day?
I couldn't imagine exactly what the number would be. Like, what is the number one goal for? Is to see the most people, right? What is the platform that has the most people potential? YouTube. What is the platform that has the most people?
More than Twitch, you think?
Potential, yes. For sure.
Okay.
What is the platform that has the actual most viewers in live streaming? And that's Twitch.
Twitch.
Right? Why sign exclusive? That's the next question. Why do you sign exclusive other than the fact that Activision has already lost a shitload of money doing this? The teams have already lost a shitload of money doing this, right? The players, everyone involved is losing a boatload of money.
The players as well? Wow.
Yeah. Now, what's nice is the higher end players are going to be paid less, I would assume, right? This is what happens when you put salary minimums in, because the lower players, the substitutes, have to make $50,000 a year, right? They have to make a minimum of $50,000 a year plus incentives or whatever, right? But that includes insurance, that includes housing, that includes, like a normal job, a 401k, all of the above, right?
Right.
But a Scump isn't making $50,000, right? Scump might have signed a $2 million a year contract, but if he went into free agency and they didn't have to pay Arcides $50,000 a minimum, right? They could have paid him $15,000 with bonuses, right? Instead of a minimum with packages. Scump can negotiate $3.5 million deal. Because it's at this point, it's like, why do NFL players? Well, there's a salary cap in the NFL. That was a bad example. Wow, I actually just derailed my entire conversation. But what I'm trying to say, I think it's costing everyone money to do the league this way, especially for the first few years. Why didn't 100 Thieves join in?
Because they didn't want to. They didn't want to bleed out.
They didn't want to put that financial risk, right? So back to where we were. What were the projections? Call of Duty at one point on Twitch would hold concurrent over 250,000 viewers in games that weren't as hyped and in scenarios that weren't as hyped as Game 1, new league, new format. This is it going forward. 100% Activision sponsored and backed and sanctioned. The E-Clasico, right? This is the new E-Clasico. Right, the E-Clasico, I don't know if you know, is Optic versus Envy. This is the new E-Clasico, is Huntsman versus Empire. You put that on main stage and get 85,000 viewers is a really grim sign for the start of your new league. And if I were executives at Activision, I would be shitting my pants. It's a bad sign.
Yeah, it's a bad sign. There's a certain amount of fallout that people are willing to accept at companies when they're like, all right, we're willing to take this L for this because we foresee this happening. You following me so far?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that was in their projections, because you pointed out a few factors there that were problematic for me in thinking about how they did this. You announced 4 hours that it's going to be, you announced 4 hours. That's bad, right? This should have been advertised for free on YouTube leading up. There should have been clips. People should have known where to go. All of that stuff. I don't know what the strategy was there. I got to be honest with you, man. There's a part of me that's a little bit frustrated by this. Only in the sense that if you're not going to take it serious, and this is all speculation on my part, right? Obviously, there's big money. People are taking it seriously. But you got to look at what's worked for other things and then model your own business behind that. You know how the UFC sustained for so many years? They followed a formula, right? Which is the Ferenzo brothers are going to pay for all of it, and we're just going to hope this thing turns out well.
So really, hold on for a second. Let me interject here. The real formula for the UFC was to pay their fighters less, but have more exposure.
Yes,
right.
And they followed that. And then then when they took their big risk, which was the Ultimate Fighter 1. Well, let's be honest. That's what broke them in, because everyone tuned in for what is those two mutants' name? You know what I'm talking about? Forrest Griffin versus Stephen Bonner, right?
Yeah.
Everyone literally tuned in that Stephen Bonner. They tuned in and they got to see a free fight. That was amazing. More amazing than most of the pay-per-view cards that had been put on at that point. What can the COD League learn from this? Someone's got to look at this L and go, okay, we can do better. We have to do better in this regard, because was the gameplay any good?
I didn't watch. This is only day one. I've been busy since I got home. This is only day one. Right. I will do my best to watch tomorrow or Sunday for sure. Tomorrow, I think I'm busy most of the day tomorrow too, but I can always have it up in the background. I don't know. The production quality from MLG, and I'm assuming that's who's running the back end. MLG is not really a company anymore, or at least the production side of it isn't. Right. Through Adam Apicella and those guys, they're not really they went and made their own company, and I hope they're the guys who were running everything because their production quality was incredible. They brought in a lot of the favorites, right? The Maven and Merc combo, right? Like that's like right now, now that it's not Puckett and Fwiz, Maven and Merc is the casting duo that everyone likes to see. On game one, Merc was a player for both teams, right? There's a lot of history in this game one of this brand new league, and still you pull 85,000. Did they sell out the arena? I don't even know. I didn't look at what the gate was. Right? Because now that's a factor too.
Yeah.
Did they sell out?
How many people showed up?
How many people showed up? Like, what are the answers to these questions? And I guarantee we don't see it.
Well, you can't. You're not going to release that information too early. I'm just kind of monitoring right here, just seeing what the fans thought. The 14 comments on the actual channel itself, people seem to be enjoying it, but I'm probably going to watch this later on when I'm going to sleep. That I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. You know exactly what I mean by that. I'll put it on while I'm washing the dishes and getting myself
while you're doing stuff.
Yeah. I don't know, bro. I got to be honest with you, man. I don't.
So you're also not as harsh on this stuff as I am.
No, I'm trying not to be as harsh, right? Because there's nothing worse than an idiot that doesn't understand voicing a lot of opinions. So I'm trying not to be that harsh. I'm trying to reserve myself and say that there's some things that I don't understand about this. And I'm trying to see in my mind's eye if there's anything they can learn from this. Like, do they not have the right people in play to help this thing grow?
But they have...
You're like, they have all the people.
They have the right people, right? But you can't even not let the players know where this is going to be broadcast, because where are those 3 million Scump followers going to go, right? Yeah. Scump doesn't know. In 4 hours out, right? 4 hours out of a fight, Steve, you're preparing for the fight, right? Yeah. 4 hours out of a match, game one of the new league, you want to start off on a good foot, right?
You want everyone to know.
You don't want to be the Seattle Surge. You don't want to be the LA Gorillas. You don't want to be the Dallas Empire. You don't want to go 1-3 in your 4 games, right?
Yeah. Wait, if you don't mind, can we pivot for a second, because it's getting kind of dark and I'm getting depressed. But I'm gonna let you finish that point. I just before I forget, I'm gonna let you finish your point. I want to ask you about the 3-1 situation. Now finish your point, and then we'll come back to the 3-1 situation.
I was actually going to bring that up.
Go for it.
So the 3-1, and I had it pulled up earlier, and I don't remember how to get back to it at this point. It wasn't, I would say, a convincing 3-1.
Okay.
Here's why. Let me see if I can. I had the scoreboard earlier, and this is frustrating. I don't want matches and VOD links because it showed me exactly what games they had played. Because this is, what the hell? I must be on the wrong page. But
they definitely didn't sell out. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, I don't think they did either. It is important to know that they lost the search and destroy. Now, you may not know the implications of what losing a search and destroy really means, right? Search and destroy wins championships. The way that it works is it's respawn game, search, 2 respawns, and then game 5 is search and destroy again, right? If you win all 3, you win your respawn, your search, and your respawn. Cool, you won. You win your respawn, you lose your search, you lose a respawn, you win a respawn, you go back to search again, right? You lost that game mode. You only play it twice in a series that goes to 5. Search and destroy wins championships. Right, because you have to be a good search and destroy team to win that championship. Chicago lost it 1-6. They won 1 round out of the 7 that they played. That is not good, because you can't win solely off of those respawn, because respawn is too random. Is too random to let you go in and 100% win every single time. What happens if you get spawned out on a point? Right, if you get spawned out on a point, and you get you can't get in, they're set up and you can't break it, you lose that respawn, right? You lose one respawn, you're going to a second search and destroy.
Yeah.
You have to win a search, and you definitely cannot lose your search 6-1. Give me a 6-5. That gives me a little more hope that, you know what, one person made a misplay in this round, set a little bit of momentum, you lost, you came back, but you still lost it. You lost in 12, right? You lost in 11. You lose 6-1. Cool. You won your respawns. That's cool. I am more faithful that Dallas will make a comeback and will have a more successful season than the Huntsmen because they were so dominant in that search and destroy.
Let me ask you a question. Follow-up question here.
Go ahead.
In regards to the search and destroy and the respawn, are you saying, I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, is there a skill level that's required to win the search and destroy, and not winning that speaks volumes? Is that what you're saying? So
the implication of losing your search and destroy, especially in a bad way, is search and destroy is one life per round per team member, right? I go out, make a bad play, I get clipped. Now it's 5-on-4, right? And you snowball that. It is the most team-oriented game that you could play in Call of Duty, very specifically, because it requires the most communication, it requires the most teamwork, and it requires the most being comfortable with the way that you were supposed to play in game planning, right? Fighting. How did Stipe beat DC? He stuck to the game plan, made a decision late in second, into the third round, into the fourth round, that he needed to make a change, made that change and stuck to it, right? If you go down to 3-0 in search, you have to do the same thing. You have to say, hey, listen, I can't run up right side. There's two sitting there. I either need two of you guys to go with me, let's do 3-on-2 push, or we need to work around the left side, right? You need to make a decision. You won one round of your search and destroy. At one point, you were probably 3-0 or 0-3, 0-4, 0-5, something like that, right?
Why didn't you make the adjustment?
Why didn't you make the adjustment? B, why couldn't you make the adjustment, right? That's why winning your search and destroy, or being competitive in your search and destroy, is so important. Because, listen, I can go carry you through a hardpoint game. Let's be fair. Just based off a skill and experience, I could carry you through a hardpoint game. But if we're not working together in search and destroy, it's impossible to win a game. How hard was it for us to win a 2v2?
That was pretty hard.
We won 2v2, right? It's the same thing.
The first time we played. The last time we played 2v2,
no.
we won
the whole section. We only played one whole section. That I remember, right? At least on video, right?
Yeah.
I have a lot of skill, but I could reflect some of that in helping you play the game. But unless we are like really well synergized, it's really hard for us to win a 2v2. Me and Shane going to 2v2, we
you guys are gonna kill.
We do the opposite, right? We lose one game out of the 10 that we play. So I'm worried about how that team is if they lose a 6-1 in a search and destroy.
Well, this is something that I'm gonna have to closely monitor. But to surmise the whole thing, we got 85,000 day one.
But that's only peak. That's peak during the Dallas versus Chicago. I don't know what it was for the rest. Let's be fair. I don't know what it was for the rest.
When's the next time it's coming on? I'm trying to figure out.
Tomorrow.
Next game, next max. Okay.
Tomorrow, New York plays London.
All right.
So there's five games tomorrow and 4 more on Sunday.
Okay.
So, but okay, here's another example. Seattle played Florida. Florida beat Seattle, which is actually really hard for me to, on paper, understand, because I thought Seattle was going to come out of this weekend the biggest victor. Not in games won, but in what do they call it in the UFC? Stock. In stock. Because you have Karma on that team, and I think Karma alone could be so influential over the rest of the team that he could make them win. But
yeah, they
Florida
fought a hell
won.
of a fight, but they still lost.
Florida won both of their search and destroys. This is what I'm saying. They lost miserably. 250 to 190, 198. That's almost non-competitive in my eyes. In a hard point, they dominated 6-3 in a search and destroy. They lose a respawn in domination, very close, 184 to 188. Win a hard point, 250 to 215, and then go in and win a 6-0 search and destroy. That's going to be a good team. You win your search and destroys. You win championships. That went a game 5. That went the way that where it goes is down to the search and destroy. It is down to the one life game mode. How do we buckle up and how do we buckle down and win this game? You win your search and destroy. They won 6-0 too in that search and destroy. That's a good sign.
I'm watching the gameplay right now, man, and kind of bummed out I didn't get to watch this live. I forget how much I enjoy watching. Remember we went on that tear where we were watching tournaments nonstop. Like we were going to talk about that stuff on the show, and it had just turned about, just watching it. But okay, I'll say this, and I'm going to say it respectfully and with the little bit of knowledge I have, but I'm going to say it in regards to YouTube, Google. They should have known better. Someone in their team should have said, hey, this day of announcement, that's not going to fly. We need to get out there and do some serious marketing. We just took a huge L on Stadia. We need this to work. We can't take multiple L's in a row.
But for Google, who cares what Google does? They have the exclusive rights to Overwatch League, to maybe not, maybe I think Overwatch League. And to
Overwatch, are they Blizzard?
Blizzard. Yeah. Blizzard, Activision Blizzard. It's the same company.
Okay. No, I'm saying I didn't know Overwatch was made by that company. I've never played that game. Never even watched one thing about
Overwatch it. Overwatch is fun. I've never watched it competitive, but the gameplay is fun. It's frustrating, but it's fun. Okay. But who cares? Google won. Google got the exclusive rights to the Call of Duty League.
Got them cheap, you think, or?
Yeah, I bet you they did. Activision loses that it only saw 85,000 eyes. That's where it is. You want to wrap out the show, Stevie? Or do you want? Let's talk about your political video.
Stop calling it that.
Let's talk about where. Where was the setting? Where was the setting? Was it not in a Massachusetts legislative chamber?
It's not a political video.
Was it not based around a bill that they were potentially passing or denying on?
It's 100% a political video. I just don't want you to give people the wrong impression about me. We're going to talk about the right to repair, and then we can close out on that because there's not actually much to say about it. I'm not even going to big up the guy's channel. But, Zach, let me ask you a question. We were talking about consoles earlier. Who owns the console? You or the company, the proprietor? Who owns it once you purchase it?
So physically, I own the hardware. Technically, they own the software.
Okay, perfect. Who owns the licensing for the design of the company?
Of the product, the company does.
Okay, so who owns? So let's say, for instance, your Xbox breaks. It's your only console. Do you have a right to take your console to someone else to have it repaired?
The answer to this question is yes.
Yes.
But practically, does that actually happen? No, because they lock it down. And they don't provide people with the proper training and schematics to be able to actually do the repairs. Right? They want that all in-house. They monopolize that.
Let me ask you another question, Zach. These are all open-ended questions. I'm not testing you on anything. I just want the people to hear this.
You couldn't test me on something I would fail
at. I wasn't prepared for that. So we're talking about schematics. We're talking about blueprint repairs. You go to a site like iFixit. Have you ever perused iFixit before? Mm-hmm. They have some stuff up there.
Plenty of times. I've watched their teardowns.
Yeah. So here's the issue, the fundamental issue. Do you have the right to take your device somewhere else, much like your car, and you're losing that right, even in regards to your car at some bits, to someone to do the repair? And the company is saying, no, you have options. You can either go through us, you can go to an authorized repair center, which is usually just a retailer that will send a device to them.
Or take your risk.
But we're not releasing the schematics because we feel like we're giving up trade secrets in regards to software. And I don't know if that was just a mistake that the lobbyist company that they hired, but they said it multiple times. And to that one aggravated old guy was like, why do you keep saying that? He's like, what does the software have to do with the blueprint on how to repair?
A lot. Right, a lot. And I forget the guy's name, Lewis whatever. He's the guy who repairs Macs on YouTube. Everyone has seen his videos. It's actually really interesting, really smart guy.
Before you go there, he has never once updated a firmware or changed a chip or done anything to anyone's software. He's strictly hardware.
I was going to say that. they have the reason why it's software based is because when you alter hardware, the software is designed to stop working. Right. So in a car, you could put a different engine in a car and you don't have matching serial numbers anymore. Right. In classic cars is a really big thing in having matching serial numbers or matching VINs. Right. Does your engine match your chassis? Right. And if a piece of hardware is changed on a MacBook or a console, those serial numbers don't match anymore. And 100%. Therefore, the software is broken. And that is why they kept saying software, because they are right.
So I think the fundamental argument that they were having there, I'm not disagreeing with you, was the fact of the matter that they do. I would say that I agree with you to the point of that they use the software to keep a chokehold on the potential repair. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about is you can't just take your Xbox to a repair center like you used to. There used to be places in your local mall filled with shady guys that would strip down your Xbox and potentially mod it if you requested it. And that's another reason a lot of those places got shut down, because they were doing the exact thing that Microsoft and Apple and other Samsung feared. So they took that, they took a lot of that stuff away. But there are guys like Lewis repair centers who actually just do high level repairs. The problem is they don't have access to the schematics or the parts. So here's the thing. Apple is right in this regard. Here's a pro for Apple. They have an exclusivity on their parts certified through them. You can get the same part from China, but there always seems to be a little something wonky going on with that. You know what I'm saying?
Usually it needs a flash. Because usually, because technically speaking, they cannot. Well, I mean, in China they can, I think. They can't make the firmware match the product, because therefore that would break the patent.
So,
right? But if you put a generic firmware on it and just say, "Hey, use this that we provided to flash it once you get it in," no one will ever know, and then we're good. You're good. We're all good. Now you have a working Mac again. Who cares, right?
And that is exactly the point. I feel kind of bad that they sent those poor lobbyists in, because I watched the other videos. I didn't torture you with those. The one I sent you, that was the only panel that actually participated in. That one aggravated guy was like, I own an Xbox and I took it to get repaired. And they said I had to send it out and it was gone for a year. And then they formatted it. Like, I get that. But Zach is 100% right. In most instances, with the microchips on your Xbox, your iPhone, your Samsung device, the firmware has to be updated. It does have to be flashed, and that's proprietary in nature. If we're talking about basic repairs, I agree with Lewis. Not even basic, like the stuff he does, soldering a chip back onto a board, restoring a device that was previously dead. I agree with that level of work.
That should be available to everybody.
Yes.
But I also get where the software side of things should also probably be locked down, right? Listen, I should be able to install an OS on my machine, but I probably should not be able to alter a BIOS, right? Because at some point, really it's liability. Where is the company liable for that product? If I go in and alter a BIOS, right, the company shouldn't be liable if I blow it up. That's my issue, right? But they have to do this kind of stuff because it has been set as a precedent within the powers that be, that the government's going to uphold the consumer right on this, right? You know those little void if remove stickers? Those aren't legal. That they cannot deny you a repair because those were tampered with, right? Because you have a right to, in some fashion, know and be able to physically address and touch it and play with what you own, right? But software side of things is still the wild, wild west of realistically what is and is not legal. When you buy a CD, you are licensing that music. You don't own that music.
You own that CD.
You own
do not have the right to share the music on the CD. And that's where the fundamental argument. There's only one company that handled this right, and it's amazing that no one knows this, but Lewis never talks about it. So you remember when at one point everyone went crazy when Android was like, "Hey, we're going to make it open source. There's actually going to be a developer mode in your phone. And you can do whatever you want with it."
Yes, you can.
But be warned, the day you take that phone back and they find out that it's been rooted, modded in any way, shape, or form, they're not going to trade it in.
First thing I do when I get my Android is I turn developer mode on.
Yeah, the company retains, and they say it specifically, your retailer that you bought the phone through retains the right to deny you for services. But if you're able to remove that mod, Sprint will take that phone right back. In fact, they'll tell you that. They're like, hey, just take this root off of here and we'll send this, or they used to. I don't know where they stand with that now. This is a fight between Apple and small repairs. And there's another larger documentary that I watched that was like 2.5 hours long. And I watched this guy do the same level of repair that you would send your phone out to the Apple service center, repaired the phone. And he literally came to a very awkward place. He was like, so you know what's preventing me from being able to do this and give this person their phone back? The next thing Apple's going to ask is, how did you calibrate that screen?
Yep. It is built into the software to know whether or not a calibration happened.
Yeah.
I have run into that many a times. I understand that entirely. Now, coming up in this, I'm replacing a screen for someone's laptop, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not currently working on it, but getting the parts in, I'm going to be doing that over the next week or two, right? This specific laptop I know won't give me any issues for this because it's not hardware wise, like that is not really designed into a computer yet. But when does that start? Right?
It started with the Pixelbook.
That's not a computer. That's a tablet. That is a glorified tablet. I'm sorry.
It's a computer.
It is a computer as much as a Surface is a computer.
Good point.
Cool. They're computer adjacent. They're not quite a computer, right? It's a slightly different. It's more of a mobile device than say a laptop is, right?
Right.
So when does that start with laptops, right? Does a MacBook already do it? I'm not sure. I've never had to replace a screen on a MacBook.
100%. If that part is not, and you know this, if that part is not sourced from Apple, that's your manufacturer warranty. Any extended warranty is voided.
Correct. Yes, that. But I'm saying, when does it? So with an iPhone, if you don't calibrate your screen, your thumbprint doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
At what point do I replace a screen on a laptop and it goes, well, sorry, the red section of your LEDs won't work because you did not calibrate it. Therefore, not our issue, right?
Yeah.
When does that happen?
I think it happens soon for Apple. The question becomes like, so it would have happened a lot sooner if, for one instance, they took one L in this. I have to go back and look at the numbers, but if one person voted the bill in, we're going to see more strict policies. I have to go back and check the Massachusetts one because they seem like they were on the fence in regards to it.
Yeah.
And the lobbyist company that they sent there didn't do a good job presenting their arguments.
From what you sent me, they did a really poor job actually. Hey, lobbyist company, if you just take some cash, bro, I'll go over there.
But then I can send you another video where Lewis did not do a great job of presenting his argument, and this is the problem. This is why people hire lobbyist companies, and he was being pretty. He was like, I don't know what they have to do with the situation, but that's why they hire them, because every once in a while, like, they'll step in and they send in the A team. And he didn't do great in his presentation because he kind of got off topic with the issue. And the issue is, do I have the right to repair this device? The fact of the matter is he has no rights in regards to this subject. It's more consumer right. Does the consumer have a choice? Their argument is that you do have choices. We've provided 3 choices. Just like the car industry, when everything started moving away from the independent repair, like the independent mechanic, you have choices. You can go back to Lexus. You can go somewhere that Lexus sends you, or you can send us the car. But those are your choices. We've provided you choices. Do you feel all your choices?
The car market isn't quite there yet. You still could easily go to an independent shop, right?
Yeah, but you know how dangerous that is, going to a place in the Bronx on Fordham Road versus going to...
Whoa. Not bringing my car all the way down there to get it fixed. Let's be honest. But...
No disrespect to Fordham Road.
So Lewis, in the video that you sent me, Lewis did a really good job of getting his point across of, realistically, how much of a choice do we have in our side of repair and consumer electronics? It's very little, right? Yeah. It is really little. Should it be more? Yeah. Will it ever grow the options for repair? No, it'll get more narrow over time to where it's a send in, send out process.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I jumped ship to PC. Even though I will say, at least the PlayStation says, hey, you can change your you're mechanical to an SSD.
Yeah.
Xbox is like, yeah, you can change it. If
Good
you
luck.
like if you can figure it out, we're okay with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, if anyone needs that video, I can send it to you. But yeah,
There's a
right
few
to repair.
screws.
I'm going to be monitoring this situation just because, I want to see where this whole thing goes, because that's an industry that we dabble in here and there. And
Well,
they gonna
I am both feet out at this point. You're kind of knee deep, but
I'm so deep in it.
he's like, I've had 3 repair shops this week closed down.
Well, just look at peripherally what's happened in the town of the school, right? There used to be if you remember, there used to be a place in the mall where you could take your Xbox and your PlayStation to get some pretty high level repairs. We're talking about up until the point of soldering components on the motherboard.
Yes. Yeah.
They mysteriously disappeared one day. I walked past the sneaker shop and I was like,
Sneaker shop.
like there's a massage parlor.
Yes. Yeah. I know exactly where it was. Yeah, for sure. But they used to do that with phones too, right?
Yeah.
You used to go get your Motorola Razr and you used to get LEDs put in it. And it was 30 minutes for some guy in a kiosk in the middle of the mall to do it.
Yeah.
You don't do that with iPhones anymore unless you're in Shenzhen, China.
Hey, did I tell you I encountered one of those phones and I was like, yeah, we're not working on this.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm like, this is not even coming in. This is not going to the repair.
Wait, did it have LEDs in it?
No. But it had all the things that the article that we were supposed to read. As soon as I turned on the phone, I was like, I'm like, no.
I read this. Yeah.
No, this is not coming to the back. Right to repair. Comment below. Zach, anything else before we jump ship?
That's it, man. This was a really good show. I had I had a good time doing this show. Thanks everyone for watching. This has been episode 15 of Talking with the Dad. These only get better over time. These only get better. Thank you for the downloads, people on the audio. If you made it this far, leave us a rating on wherever you're watching it, and tweet at us, Instagram at us, both at Gaming with a Dad. Let us know how you're feeling. Let us know how you're feeling. Unless it's depressing, then you should probably go see a doctor about that. We're not doctors.
We are not trained professionals.
No, we are
Please
not.
Do not contact Zach.
We do play them on the internet though, and have a good night.
Good.